Hey everyone, it is the 11th of April 2023, and we are on a call with the Wallet Scrutiny team, and this is call number 14, which is focusing on the redesign of the website, and it is a collaboration between Wallet Scrutiny and the Bitcoin design community. I'm Mo, and that's Christoph, Leo, and the rest of the team.
Awesome. Thanks for the kickoff. So what shall we talk about today? I put, let's get an overview because it's been a few weeks, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since we checked.
So let's real quick, let's make a list here of what's burning on everyone's mind. I put in a few things too already.
I want to get design in front of the users. I mean, we have so much stuff already that I want to consolidate and put out there. And Ed worked on it, and he has it. He has quite an improvement working. And I think we wanted to add the copy and improve everything and make it perfect before releasing. So. Yeah.
Awesome. Which specific areas were you working on, and which ones do you feel like are missing?
That I've been working on. I mean, I'm working on wallet reviews and other things, but Ed was working on the design part. He was trying to implement those things, and maybe Ed wants to say something where he had doubts or further questions.
Well, I think my microphone is working, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So the review page, I think I haven't seen any changes on that as far as design. I like where it is right now. I know we had touched some weeks ago on possibly doing a version of the methodology that would be that would form a kind of a step, some sort of visual representation of the steps, and it would be slapped onto each review. Like, I know that didn't really get off the ground or anything, but if there was some way to move on the review pages, that would be something to that I wouldn't mind playing around with, a design or an approach for how to display the way the methodology flowed for each wallet. So maybe that has to do with maybe the copy has to get cleaned up on that too. I'm not sure if there was something said about that, but apart from the wallet review pages, I think the home page is where I'm feeling excited these days. So if we could, I suppose, decide what design we're going with. Definitely, I mean, I did play around with the colors and stuff, and actually it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Not that I ever doubted, but the colored tiles on the wallet, I couldn't demo it, but it's there in the branch if anyone wants to pull it down and have a play with it.
The color coding of the wallets in the landing page.
Yeah, it's not on the demo link because
Okay.
the build still fails for reasons I haven't been able to look into just yet. But it seems to build fine locally, so anyone who wants to have a play with it, please do. So I'm working on layout things there, just stuff that the way the site is built, just stuff that throws up as I'm pulling in the new homepage design. But yeah, if we could just maybe we could talk a little bit about where we feel like going solidly with the homepage, and then I can just start throwing things in and making something out of it.
Yeah.
I think it would be very helpful to have it on your pages.dev, or I could deploy it to beta.waltscrutiny.com to have something to talk about maybe for next time. I won't be able to do this during the call now. But yeah, please, let's chat afterwards, because apparently the links I shared are not the latest designs that you're working on, right?
Yeah, like I said, the build is failing somewhere in the Ruby section of things.
Maybe you can share your screen if it is very different to what is deployed there, so we know where we are from the implementation side and
All
where we need
right,
to
let's
improve.
see how let's see about this then.
Looks super good. It's awesome work.
But that's, like as Ed said, that is not the latest state. He improved upon this already.
Oh yeah, I've been pulling in your design, Christoph. So that is any of the links you'd be looking at now would all be really stale.
Are these stale links then? Okay.
Unfortunately. All right. How do I share my screen?
The share screen is the third button in the bottom.
Oh right, yes. Doesn't do anything, believe it or not.
It should ask you permissions. Did he drop? Oh, he dropped.
Yeah, it might be I might have to give it access. Sometimes I think if he's on a Mac OS requires you to do something in settings for that.
Oh, yeah, he probably is.
Yeah, it's not even asking me to do anything.
Yeah, but feel free to share those later,
Yeah.
and then we can just take a look at them. But
Yeah.
even from what I saw here, it's I mean, that's really awesome
Yeah,
progress.
sure.
Yeah, I won't hold anything up, so I'll work on that. So.
Okay. So something earlier you mentioned about the wallet page and the methodology page kind of go hand in hand, because one of them has a summary of the steps specific to that wallet. The other one has basically everything, whole descriptions and for every single step and every category and whatnot. So that makes sense that those are kind of put live or covered or coded even in the same vein, because they might be reusing the same components and styling and whatnot. So that makes sense.
Copy, definitely.
Yeah. And with the homepage, I was, feel free to push back on all that stuff. That's the version that I put out because I wanted to just push into something really different to see, just to stretch the conversation a little bit, right? And that doesn't mean that it has to be used, right? The whole thing can be ditched, or just parts of it can be used. Maybe it's too colorful or whatever, right? So maybe it's, it's awesome that you're hopping into the design, but I wanted to ask first, is that the design, is that the visual styling and everything that everyone is comfortable with and wants to go for? Because that's not something that you want to change again later.
Yeah.
And then if this is the visual style, sorry, one more thing. If this is visual styling, then we should also carry that over to the other pages.
Oh yeah.
I'm not too happy with the very playful thing. So if those colors mean something, so if green is reproducible, then people understand, okay, I want a green wallet. Yeah, no, not that green wallet. Yeah. And now with the page that I shared, which Ed said is stale already, it's confusing because you don't know why are the colors the way they are. Yeah. So is it random? Is it is it taken from the icon color, or why is it they are like that? Yeah. And
wow, that link.
Not so colorful.
Yeah, if you look at the design too, there's a dog. I changed the logo to a dog simply because the guard dog, and we had this dog in some previous goofy mock-ups. There you're also, it's not meant to be functional. And sometimes in design, it's totally okay to do that.
No, but I'm fine with the dog. I'm
You
fine
are?
with the dog because it's a guard dog and whatever. But I'm not so fine with
Okay.
colors that like look like they must have some meaning. And
Yeah.
I'm just too stupid to make up what the meaning is.
Hmm.
So instead of like, if you want it to be more playful, then I would say, okay, put a gradient there or something
Yeah.
more like a pattern instead of a color like that looks like color coding. Yeah. So
Okay.
it just confuses the user, I think.
Yeah, here in the, you can see, let me switch my background here real quick. I also created a design version of this where it's purely gray background. And it does take that playfulness away. It makes the green, the kind of the minty stuff at the top more clear that is something interactive.
Okay.
But it dims the whole thing a little bit, makes it visually less interesting. But yeah, it does. Yeah, some people will want to look into the color and find meaning there, but where there it's simply a reflection of the brand. Yeah, but those are exactly the type of discussions that I think are very good to have. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe you as a team want to discuss that and make some calls on these things. It's also interesting to hear about the dog because you could say, well, that's totally out of the blue to change the current logo to a dog. Why a dog? What's the point there? And if you go with a dog, do you want to use a dog in other places too? Is the dog now a mascot of the project? Do we want have a dog in the about page?
Would it be the fav icon or is it just a visual for the landing page? I thought it was a visual for the landing page and not the new brand logo.
Yeah, I mean it's in a position here where it is.
Oh yeah.
Where it is the.
In this, absolutely.
That makes you think like this is the logo, right? It's like the Batman dog.
And for these things, I would rely on you guys because really, for me, it's like, oh, I drew these arrows there, and it was what I could have come up with in Inkscape, and I'm not a designer, and I just needed something, and I was like, okay, a shield and something that's deflected by the shield, and I understand it's like tiny lines, and in the fav icon you cannot recognize it, and maybe it's not important to recognize what it actually represents. And now that I look at the logo here and that my tabs up on my screen, I see that the dog looks pretty much like the GitLab logo, but in a different color. You don't like it? What's that?
GitLab.
Okay.
GitLab seems to have some type of fox going on.
Oh, GitHub has a fox.
GitLab.
GitHub has a octocat. It's half cat, half octopus, but the GitLab is some mammal.
Yeah, it seems like a fox.
Yeah, it's a fox. Yeah, it's a fox.
Everyone puts their favorite animals in these things. Okay, yeah. I mean, the thing where if you pick something like a guard dog, that could also come across in the tone of how the website, how the project. A guard dog's gonna bark when he sees a threat.
Right.
And this website, it will bark.
Oh yeah, I mean, this analogy, I like it a lot because dogs often bark when there's not actual danger around. It's just like there's a bird.
Are you frozen there? I don't know if it's just for me or.
Yeah, he seems to be frozen.
Oh, he's coming back. How do you guys feel about the dog, the rest of the team?
I like the dog. I like the logo. But then, admittedly, I think after so many years of looking at the Wallet Scrutiny one, I kind of like it too. So I'm torn. I'm torn on changing it, but I can't I can't really find an argument against the dog. I mean, with some tweaking, the dog is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Leo mentioned that he relies on us for this. I think, so there are two things here. There's one is the concept of the logo, of what it represents and what it stands for. So with the dog, we had guard dog, we had certain attitude. With the current logo, there's the shield and the deflection and the idea of protection. And we can also design logos that with the same idea of shield and deflection and protection, right? That communicates the same thing in maybe a simpler shape or so that's just easier to pick out. That's also very much also an option.
Guys, sorry, my internet cut out. Yeah, I mean, I like this because we bark a lot at people that might not deserve it because there is no proof that samurai is evil, but it smells evil. And so we bark at them. And until we can prove they are evil, we will keep barking at them because they just smell very evil. And so that's where we are a bit like, I don't know. I try to be objective about everything, and I'm objective about why I bark at them. But that's why I like the dog and all analogy because yeah, dogs bark, and it's not always danger, but sometimes it is.
From a design perspective, it's also looking at what's memorable as well. And certain things tend to stick more in people's minds. If you look at the GitLab one, it's really quickly it's the fox. Hey, do you guys know that website with the dog logo? That's the one that helps us to make decisions about which wallet is the most secure. So it's these associations that people form in their minds.
Okay, I think so. I'm
Anya wants to
actually
say something.
Oh yeah, so I wanted to piggyback off of what everyone was saying because like whenever I think of a fox, I think of like playfulness and like wisdom and cleverness. So the dog is really synonymous to like protection and guardianship, which is a great like way of showing that rather than showing being straightforward with a shield. Because shields is like very straightforward with that. But if we want to, play into the ideology of it, I will use the dog.
But maybe it should not look like Batman because Christoph's
Yes.
logo looks like Batman.
Yeah, it does give off a little bit of a Batman, but yes, I do like the dog.
So would you guys be open to leaning into the dog idea, but then maybe playing around with how the dog looks?
Hmm.
maybe there are also other animals. Feel free to propose anything else too, and we can take a look at it. Maybe this is a thing where we need to tweak the dog a little bit. Maybe someone wants to create a third project, a concept, and we also take the current one and see if we can take it a little bit further. Because I think sometimes it's also, you just kind of have to see it to make a decision, to see how it turns out, and then you're like, okay, this is the one, obviously, right? You know it when you see it, type of deal. That's sometimes the case with these logos and branding things. So maybe we take that as a mini project, and
Yeah,
present
logo design.
2 or 3. Sorry?
No, just saying a sort of branding redesign.
Yeah. I actually have to hop off in 8 minutes for another call. Sorry about that. So I would like to talk about something else, a little bit related to we talked about earlier. So that's here in the methodology page. Did I already show this exploration here? Probably not. But let me know if I did. So I took a super long screenshot of the whole methodology page and tried to analyze the content. And the first thing I thought was, this needs to be multiple pages. So I tried to split it up into multiple pages. So I came up with introduction. This really just talks about, here's what we actually want to do and what we don't do. And then after this, a user, a reader might care about reading through more, or they're basically familiar with the point of the project and how things are done. And there could include contribution things as well. Then the second page would be tests we run. So those are the categories and each of those tests. And if you expand them, so I made them into, these look pretty much like what they look on the new wallet page, but they're all collapsed. So as a reader, I can understand there's a general category, developer category, this and this, all these categories, and I can see the questions that's being asked in each one. And if I want to, I can expand it. And then if it's expanded, it could look like this. And this is the same copy from the current page. It's all in there, except for those bottom ones. And that could probably be tweaked as well. But my focus here was just on splitting it up into pages. Then I created separate pages for hardware wallets. So if someone just wants to learn about that aspect, and then another one about bearer tokens for that information. And then a third, the last page that's just called an FAQ, which is just kind of the common stuff, like no reproducible apps in App Store. And that information was previously all the way at the very bottom of this 4,000 word page. So yeah, that's kind of where I ended up with trying to make this a bit more digestible, where it's easier to deep link users based on what they're looking for. Do they have a specific question? Do they just want to know the tests? Do they just want to learn about what the deal is with bear tokens? Do they just want to like general introduction or how to contribute? Yeah, that's where I ended up at with this. I don't know where to take that next. I was just gonna throw that out to the team and see what feedback you have there.
I think it makes a lot of sense to split it up a bit, also for our own discipline on where do we land, because sometimes with the reviews we're like, oh,
Leo's gone again.
To have these more explicit in their categories and well documented would be helpful for getting people to enter the reviewing also. I mean, I told that Daniel is doing a lot of the pre-filtering and sorting and stuff. So and even he, as he did hundreds, no, actually thousands of reviews, he after some pause confuses the verdicts, and we have to reiterate. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should word it more clear there, or maybe you should split it and stuff. So yeah, it would certainly help to have it like more rigid, to say, okay, this is really just the methodology for bearer tokens. And even if some verdicts coincide there, like let's name them in both platforms, and not say, oh yeah, and that's where the bearer tokens are different. No, let's take this completely apart and say, okay, if you're in the bearer token category, this is how we work.
I was actually wondering about that. Is bearer tokens basically the general tests plus extra tests, or is it some of the general tests and some new tests?
The bearer tokens are actually hardware wallets that have an extra feature, that is, you can have the private keys sealed. So that the user knows, okay, when it's sealed, then the private key was never known to anybody ever before. Yeah, that has some implications, like you cannot have a backup of a bearer token, because then you would have two copies of this, and you wouldn't trust it when you hand it around. But it also promises that if you get, for example, an open dime from somebody, and you trust it's a genuine open dime, and you see it is sealed, so it has these categories where we would normally say, oh yeah, it communicates the key as a plain key, we are more we don't color it red. So we say, yeah, even though it communicates it as plain key, it is not meant to be used in an unsafe environment. So it is just for, it's a sealed device that you break the seal and then you see what's inside, and then it's kind of more okay than with the hardware wallets.
Yeah.
Because you never want to just take a part of it, you always want to take all of it. So that's like these specialties about it, but it still is fair to put them on a separate page, although 80% of that page would be repeated. Yeah, it's okay to list it. I mean, it's cheap to have those two pages have 80% similarity if it's more clear how to review a bearer token.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, I don't know what the best approach is. Whether you're just it uses these steps from over here, and here are 2 extra steps, or I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, and
I
just
think with the current page, it all started with reviewing Android wallets, and I think it colors how we review bearer tokens, and it shouldn't color how we review bearer tokens. And that's why I think it would be really good to have it visually completely separated and to go through it like I'm only dealing with bearer tokens. Do all the verdicts even make sense for a bearer token? Yeah, and then it makes it clearer even for me. I've never done that exercise, and maybe I should do it for myself. And if it's easier for the user to mix those again, then we can talk about that. But I think it would also help the user to look at only what is relevant for what he's looking for.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And then before I hop off, just one more thing. So what I was thinking is that if I'm on the wallet page, when you look at the review of something, there's a link here. Sometimes it could be view test result, or it could be view more, and then it would deep link me into this page here. So if the methodology part is too long, it's extremely long for this wallet page, we can always link directly into the expanded version of one of these questions here, one of those steps. So that's how they tie together. That's how I was looking at that. But yeah, feel free to continue the conversation. Let me know afterwards. You know the mistake we made, Mo? I'm recording this session. So I have to stop my recording now. Maybe you can continue the recording.
Oh, I'm also recording, Christoph.
You're recording too?
I'm
Okay,
recording
awesome.
too.
So feel free to continue the conversation,
Perfect.
and I will watch the recording and catch up with the rest.
Okay, thank you, Christoph.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay, all right. Maybe
Talk to you later then.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Maybe we can continue on with the designs that Christoph just shared, and maybe take a little bit more time to discuss them. I'm going to share my screen, methodology page explorations, because he had to go through those designs really quickly. So I'm just opening up that design on my computer now so that I can just get any feedback or comments from you guys as a team. Cool. Let me just share my screen. Which tab do I want to share? Figma. Yeah, I'm going to share my entire screen because that seems like the easiest option here. So, okay, yeah, that should show my Figma. Is that visible for you guys on your end?
Still black.
Is it still black?
Oh, now I see. Now I see it.
You
Yeah.
see it.
Fine.
Yeah. Maybe we can just get some comments from you guys with regards to the methodology, because we had to rush through that a little bit. So I'm just going to go into these designs. Let me make sure that I'm pulling up the right ones. So those were the methodology explorations, bearer tokens, where he separated them. Here we go. So we have these different. So these were the different categories that Christoph split them into. He split them into introduction, tests we run, hardware wallets, bearer tokens, and FAQ. What are you guys' thoughts on these categories?
Wait. You were reading something that I don't see now. Yeah.
You mean the categories on the page next to it?
Oh, sorry, no, I'm just referring to these main headings
Oh,
here.
Oh yeah,
those.
I cannot read them.
The tests we run, hardware wallets, bearer tokens. How do you guys feel about that
Oh yeah.
split into the categories, or do you think we could split it in a different way?
I cannot read it. Can you zoom in?
Yeah, no worries. It's here you
Thanks.
go.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's handy if you follow on Figma. You can follow Mo's mouse around.
Yeah, so we have introduction, and then this introduction is an introduction into exactly everything that you guys, what you do, and then what you do not do. And it pretty much summarizes that in a very succinct way. And that's from the current copy on the website. So that's a little bit of an introduction, and then he's moved on into tests we run. So how do you guys feel that's like a kind of a nice break of these different
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Go ahead.
go on. No, I was just saying, without even reading the actual content, just the way it's presented is already more approachable. So it's inarguably an improvement of sorts.
Mhm.
Just breaking it up anyway.
Yeah.
I want to say, as we talked with Christoph, or was as I stated back then, was that, like I would split it like, what do we look for? Like maybe more in an overview kind of thing. Like we try to know if it is transparent and full stop. And then how do we actually do it for the different platforms? I would split up. So tests we run would be tests we run for Android, tests we run for iPhone, tests we run for Bear, etc. And maybe you split that up in under tests we run. So you have only the introduction tests we run and the FAQ there. And when you go into tests we run, we would tell some general idea how we work. And then if you want to know more, then you have to take it to the different platforms.
So I made some notes here. So then so your idea would be you would have introduction, and then you would have a how we do it. And underneath how we do it, it would be tests we run for Android, tests we run for Bearer, and then hardware wallet. So there would almost be only three categories here, and the third one would be FAQ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, that's also a good idea. Yeah. Okay. I think someone raised their hand. I'm just going to Aliyah. Feel free to speak.
Yeah. Who is this designed for? Like, who will be going on this site?
So, Leo, would you like to maybe touch briefly on that on the users of Wallet Scrutiny?
Yeah, the user of Wallet Scrutiny, the goal is to get wallet developers to care about their transparency, but they don't care about the transparency if the users don't care. So it's kind of, we target both groups there. And so if users feel comfortable with our verdicts and categorizations, then developers hopefully will also care about it, and both have to use the website, but mainly users will probably use it.
Okay, yeah, I do like the new categories of introduction and then how we do it, because that's just like a user who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know anything about this looking at these categories to be a bit like, okay, what's going on here? So the new category names of like introduction, how we do it, and then
Mm-hmm.
segment it into the different platforms to be an easier
Mm-hmm.
system to follow through.
Yeah, entry point. So you could
Mhm.
even say what we do instead of how we do it. Or
Yeah.
we can later think of what wording would work the best. But it's kind of it's more human, how we do it or what we do. So it's a good suggestion from Leo as well. Okay, cool. I've made some notes on that one. Um, Anything else? I'm just trying to think. We've got the homepage explorations, which we touched on already as well. With regards to, because this was kind of left as a bit of an open one. With regards to the colors, I know Leo, you said that this one was a little bit too. You were a little bit concerned about the colors, maybe confusing the people with the green being go for green and don't go for blue or don't go for yellow. Would you like to us to explore some more color explorations or something that's very neutral? Um, I know you guys liked green, but of course we cannot use green on the on these ones. Um,
Not throughout all categories, not throughout all verdicts.
no.
And
I think the neutral way is a bit better, because I'm also thinking, you also got to think about like the colors of the apps too.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of want them to stand out, and but I still think that you can use the green as like accent colors for the brand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Leo, any or Tanner or Ed.
I think that it shouldn't be colorful where the colors don't mean anything.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like to be playful, just to be playful might be okay with the dog up there, and like we don't have the visual now with the big dog there,
Mm-hmm.
but I like that one. But I mean, it should look like an objective page with
Mm-hmm.
information. And if the visuals don't come from the branding of the companies, I find it difficult to put something like to guess for some pixels from the logo and use that for the background there is just confusing for the user. So I prefer gray.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we should do A/B testing or something, and if people like it better with other colors, or maybe not gray but stale blue for all the wallets is okay, yeah. But not this very, how you call it, like it how do you call it, um,
Ambiguous.
it's not ambiguous. It's just too nervous. No, nervous is not the right word. It's like, well, why are there all these colors? It's like
Okay.
it doesn't look coherent. It looks like cluttered. Cluttered. Yeah, that's the
So,
word.
so what I'm hearing is open to adding in another accent color, but possibly one accent color. So then you have, for
Right.
example, green here, and then you have blue as a slight accent color on these ones
Right.
to keep everything unique, everything on the same line. Every wallet is the same. We're not putting one forward with a green. Okay, so maybe an accent color. Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah, and then choosing an accent color that goes well with the white background as well as with the black background. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I think that's I liked the playing around with the dark and the light mode and exploring this that you moved over already to development, Ed, because it looked really good live. You did a really good job with that. So thank you for doing that. Um, For the next phase, I think they're going to be working on the about page as well. After we wrap up the home page, it's pretty much going to be the methodology page, and then the about page. And then for the about page, we haven't quite moved on to the about page yet. But I'm just trying to think um, what we had. I'm just going to pull it up here in the collaboration. I think, is my screen still visible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in the about page, we had a few sections. Let me just scroll all the way down to the bottom. So we had possible headings in the about page. Um, So the team's feedback with the visual direction, we've gotten that from you now as well, which is very good. And with the about page, we want to come up with a framework of the about page, and also ask the team, for your images, some photos for that page. I know Leo, you mentioned including three images or three photos on that page. So maybe if we could get those images from the team members, and then see how we incorporate that into the about page. So Christoph can start working with some designs.
We would have to see who wants to be there. Like Ed, you want your face there, or would it be the pixel Ed? I don't know your face, so it's like of many people I don't know how they actually look in real life. So
Really? Okay.
I think Ed, as the one who just helps put the website together, doesn't really need to have his face on there.
yeah, but the team is like I paid Daniel. He's a copywriter mostly,
Yeah.
uh, and I do the reviews. And there is Emmanuel, who's right now, I don't know. He never wants to be seen too much, and he has his Twitter private, so he's a quite private person. So I'm not sure if he wants to put his face up. So, but I can talk to him.
I mean, we have to do what also feels really comfortable for you guys as the team. And at the same time, also putting ourselves in the user shoes and thinking, well, they want to attach some humans, the people behind this website, to establish that sort of that trust. So maybe somewhere in the middle could be with what Ed has. Like Ed has this image of himself in this cowboy hat with these glasses. Maybe we could do something in between like that, not real faces, but I don't know.
Yeah, we
But you
could do
want a
pixel
coherent
images of
style?
Sorry?
You want all in the same style?
Yeah, we could do everything in the same, everyone's face in the same style. Yeah. The
Yeah,
style
and
that everyone likes, of course. I mean,
I mean, it would look more like a team then, yeah.
yeah. So maybe
last
everyone
time
will. Sorry, yeah.
sorry, um, sorry, I just figured out my microphone too. I tried to say something earlier, but it's done. But yeah, last time I pulled up the mempool.space about page, and it just kind of has, like Ed's avatar, but everyone's just GitHub or GitLab, um, profile pictures and usernames, which could be a good middle ground in
Yeah.
some form or fashion.
Something like more avatar style, that's not with real faces, but more with this, like, yeah, like what Ed has.
Right. Yeah, like a contributors list, and you can just kind of pull that from the Wallet Scrutiny GitLab.
Could you remind me again, Tanner, where that example was from, so that I can just look it up and then also share it with Christoph as well?
Yeah, it's the mempool.space. I'll send the link in the.
I already put it.
Okay, there you go.
Cool. So this is the kind of how you guys, yeah, I see it. Yep. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think next steps is setting up another call with you guys. We can do that maybe just in the Discord channel. And
Okay.
yeah, is there anything else you guys want to touch on that we didn't cover? No.
No.
No, doesn't sound like it.
So it
Not-
feels like wrap up. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
No, I was saying no. I don't think we have anything else to say. Just the minute.
It feels like there's some. I've made some notes here. It feels like play around a little bit with the current logo design, the current design that you guys have. Make an iteration of that one. Make another iteration of the dog one as well. Make some more iterations also with the homepage. So those wallet tabs, visually exploring how that would look in maybe just gray or gray with a little bit of blue. Um, and splitting the sections, so the methodology page, um, maybe looking at how visually that would look in the suggestions from Leo, which was split it into intro, how we do it, and FAQ. Um, so yeah, that sounds about it, I think. Yeah. And then we move forward like that with the homepage design. It's also thinking about the rest of the homepage as well and what goes there. So that's kind of the next step too.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. I think we can wrap it up. There's no need for us to stay on any extra longer than necessary. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Cool.
Sounds good.
Thanks everyone for being here and for joining as well. And
Thank you.
a message on Discord for setting up the next call.
Thank you. And Ed will share the latest version, and we'll talk in Discord. Bye.
Let's do it. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.